Right, this is we're in Koh Yao Noi now, and you're looking at Rachel on the left and Ashlie on the right, who are both doing teaching degrees. You're probably going to be treated to the odd motorbike passing in the background, and the odd bit of background noise and the odd bit of wildlife, but that all adds authenticity. Right, yeah, what I want to ask you about to start with is anything you had on the trip, anything that was unexpected, anything that's really impressed you or shocked you, or the highlights for either of you. And either of you can start.
Homestay was a mixture between highlight and a massive shock. It was good because you really got to see what it was really like, but it was just a complete shock to go from a guest house to
an air-conditioned guest house, yeah.
I was quite lucky because I actually had fans. I had like 2 fans in my room, so I was quite lucky. But to go from a bed and a guest house and a room with a TV to a room with a thin mattress and a sheet and a very small hard pillow and one fan and no air conditioning.
No.
It's a big shock, but it's also good to see how they actually live.
Well, it is, isn't it? It's just different to us. You know, it's how we were a few years ago, isn't it? You know, there's no differences there.
Bridges and roads made of twigs.
No, I agree with you. But it's almost as if they prefer that. There is some association with the water with them, you know, because the land was just behind.
But they still had their...
No, but they still prefer to come out on the water. I don't know if it's some... I need to research that myself.
It's a different way of living, isn't it? It's crazy. Especially that day, like, not so
the
far
first day?
but when we went to Ran San Chong, and then we, you know, bit the boat ride away, and there was, you know, James Bond Island, and then so many strange things. So, like, poles apart, like, was it Koh Phangan?
Phangan, yeah. Yep.
That was crazy as well. Like, they had everything and they lived in the middle of the sea. Like,
I know.
You just wouldn't. And then to come back here,
I couldn't take all that in. I was just like, where are we and what's happened? Because it was like on a boat trip, and then we had the caves and all this and that, and it's like, whoa. And then you got off on this island, and it was like, whoa, hang on a minute. It was really bizarre. But I mean, how did they get electricity there?
And what? It came from inland.
I think it's hydroelectric, but I don't know where it comes from, you know, water running.
Laura said it came from inland, but I mean, that's crazy to think of as well, that travelling under the water.
Even the shops, you couldn't buy a bottle of Fanta. They had a bottle which they poured into cups and sold by the cup. It was just like...
No, it was impressive, yeah, I enjoyed that particularly.
An ambulance, it's a long tail boat.
3 football pitches.
Yeah, football pitches on twigs.
Yeah, on twigs in the middle of the sea.
I know, that is surreal, isn't it? Right, let me just focus for a bit on the teaching. Just your voice is up a bit as well, because there's a lot of background noise. I've seen big changes in the teaching, and I've been very impressed. And you know, I said to you all after the second bit of teaching, I just thought it was brilliant. You know, those 3 days, I thought it had changed really good. You'd all got to handle the differences, the culture, the kids, what made it work. What for you are any highlights within the teaching side specifically, and what we're doing with the kids, and even the differences? Because today, which is the first day here, it's a lot different, isn't it?
It's crazy how the schools are so different.
Yeah.
Like, in Thailand, and also comparing Thailand to England. I mean, I know we're not teaching where they'd normally teach. They have classrooms, and we're sometimes be teaching outside, but you know, the way they do things, it's just, you know, it doesn't seem the same as England. And
teaching outside, certainly in the first school, and indeed, mind you think today nobody cared. Weren't you on day one? Oh, blimey, there's no walls here, and
it's kind of, what do I do, and why everyone's sat where they fancy, and
basically the key here is improvising.
Anything goes, doesn't
it? Plain and simple.
Yeah.
Because you're in a group of 3 or 4 people teaching together, so you've got to improvise and share ideas, and you can't just like swan up and say, well, this is what I think we should do. You've got to work together. You've got to improvise with the kind of room. You've got to improvise because you don't know what their English is like. I mean, some schools have had really good standard of English.
Yep.
Whereas today, there was some people at the school that was just like, they didn't have a clue. Even if you just said, like, how are you, like you would have said at any of the other schools, they couldn't have responded and said, I'm fine, or I'm okay, or anything. So it's just the not knowing really, not knowing what the school's going to be like, not knowing who you're going to be put with, not knowing what your room's going to be like, not knowing what resources you've got. Because at some of the other schools you had like beams and stuff you could stick things on.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like some schools you've had desks and chairs, and other schools you've just literally had like a room, or like some of the groups had today like a field. And you've got to basically work with a field, and that's what you've got.
They were working on a pitch, yeah.
So, but I think it's made me improve my time.
Oh,
definitely.
Yeah. It's knowing how they're going to take it as well.
That's a point I was going to make. I thought, in fact, from my point of view, I didn't know how to support, and it was the handling of the kids, and if they were misbehaving and what you could do. You know, you're in another country, you don't know what works. And yet, all of you seem to have come up with stuff. Mind you, these kids here seem sort of better. There's less issues of them chatting and messing about, isn't there?
Yeah. See, it's completely different here to at home, because at home, like, we'll have times where it's like observation, and you just watch what the teacher does, and you take in like their behaviour strategies, or the way that they do things, or the way that they word things, and you take all that in. So then when you go into actually teaching, you take on board all the things that they would normally use, because obviously the kids are familiar with it and they're in a routine and they know how it works. Here you haven't got any of that. It's no, oh well, she says this, or she uses this, or she makes them stand up, or she rewards them with stickers. You haven't got any. It's just back to square one, and right, this is what we're going to have to do, and we're going to have to try and use this and use that and see which is effective, and just get on with it, really.
Has anything surprised you by what you've done and you thought, oh blimey, that's much better, or that worked, I need to do that next time, where you've been under a bit of pressure and you thought, bloody hell, I need to do something, and you have, and it's worked well? Can you oh no, I'm putting the bite on you there to come up with stuff, but
probably just like the key is just making it interactive and making it fun and visual, because at the end of the day it's a different language.
Of course it is, of course it is.
So, I mean, if I was at home, I'd be doing like, I don't know, maths or phonics, and you can explain it and go in more depth with it, whereas here you've got an hour and you've got to get across what you've got to get across.
And it's an whole topic as well. It's not like in England it'd be, right, we're going to look at this, then we're going to go into it a bit more, and then, you know, that's that. It's 1 hour, they kind of have to know everything you've got to teach them.
Plus you can recap at home, you can say, right, that's not gone so well, we'll do that again next lesson, and just go over it.
Yeah,
you've got your hour, and that's your hour, and then they're gone, and then it's the next group, and your hour.
Yeah,
so
that's
you've got
true.
to make a really big impression and make sure it sticks in.
Can I ask you, I think it was you, Ashlie, that said the phonetics, the radio thing was tricky, and it went really well. What was it you?
I think it went quite well.
Yeah.
It didn't go as well as I'd hoped, but it's difficult to get across that it was radio phonetics rather than just 16 random words to go with the English alphabet.
Yeah.
I think it went quite well, and they seem to remember a lot of it. But it was I don't know, second day or something of the first session. So I was still getting used to how things work.
It's a tricky one, but I see you lot now asking them much more complicated questions than you did on the first day, asking the kids, and they seem to know the answers. Anyway, one thing I have been intrigued by is the difference in how well the sort of competition elements, you know, splitting them into teams, that's different. That's been staggering, and there's so much fun. You know, adding games in. I mean, I don't know if you've done something. I seem to remember you, Rachel, just introducing it particularly in one game? One lesson that was potentially going to be a bit ordinary, and it just seemed to liven that up. Was that the body parts one, maybe?
Well, the body part, when we stuck them on you, we gave them all the names of the body parts, and they had to find it, read it, and actually locate, where that body part was.
Where it was on a...
They loved the fact that it was a competition, like, and they might be doing it quicker than me.
Racing against each other.
I want to win, I can do this type of thing.
Yeah.
It's good that...
Yeah. How do you feel on this trip then, just changing the subject a little bit, how do you feel the balance between seeing things like James Bond Island, PP, where else have we been, Krabi? How do you think the balance of the teaching and learning from the teaching and contributing, the volunteering element of it, how do you think we've got the balance with that, the volunteering bit, with the other things, seeing Thailand as a tourist almost? Do you feel that?
I think it's really good, just because, like, for example, at the orphanage when we did like the digging and everyone just really bonded, and it was like, right, we are really working together and we're really like sticking in and getting on with it. And I think from experiences like that, you bond more as a group, and then when you do go off and do things and see things, it seems like you're all together and you're all doing it together more so than I think it would have done had we not had them experiences, if you see what I'm saying.
No, I agree. I thought that was really good, particularly the orphanage day, as you've said.
I think that was my favourite day.
It was good, wasn't it? It was good.
It's knowing that you're all on the same wavelength and you're all in the same boat and you're all seeing and doing the same things, and
we're here to do the same thing,
and it just...
Yeah. Alright, any final bits of advice for people that are about to come or thinking of coming on this sort of endeavour in the future?
Embrace it, get on with it, and just be open-minded and just
You've got to be, as you said, with the Ban Sam Chong experience, you've got to go in there, because I think some of the others have said almost the further away you are from it, the more you look back and think, actually, it was really good, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was a good experience.
When you're in it, you're like, oh my word. But when you actually step back from it and think, whoa, I've done that, and that was amazing. So you have got to be open-minded, because a lot of things are just surreal. Like, some of the things that we've done just haven't even sunk in still, and I'm just like, we've actually done that when I think about it. And I think you just got to embrace it and just do it and enjoy it.
You have. Right, any final words then for the folks back home?
In regards to the teaching, maybe just be ready to improvise.
It's
not always going to go the way you think it will. It's not always quite so straightforward, and just give it a go. You never know, it might work, it might not. If not, do something different. Like, don't stick to the plan that you've made.
It's completely different to home. Home you have a plan and it's I'll do about 15 minutes on a start, or I'll do 30 minutes. It doesn't work like that. You can't really have timings as such. It's just, because every class is different. One class might do a worksheet and it might take them, 15 minutes. The next class it might take them double the time. So you've just got to do it in the moment kind of thing. Obviously discuss ideas that you might want to do, but the actual lesson will be in the moment and how it's going, and from that you just improvise from there really.
Brilliant. I think that was a good point. Right, thank you both.